Okay, now we will start our lesson today talking about style and tone. If you have any question, you can write down your question in this chart. Okay, style and tone here by William Kinney. Style is a writer's characteristic way of using language. It means the verbal texture of literature, the order of writer's way of using language, everything that the writer does with words, including his way of arranging words into such larger unit as sentences. It is in this sense that all writers have style. Different writers, different authors, different poet has different style. Style. Style can be divided into ethic style, period style, and individual style. The ethic style, literary tendency that has flourished, especially in some periods, but may be discovered in any period. Period style, characteristic of one historical period and not be found to any significant extent in any other. Individual style, the single writer's way of using language. Elements of style. The element of style can be divided into diction, imagery, and syntax. Diction is the author's choice of words. Imagery is the collection of images in the entire work or in any significant part of the work. Syntax is the way in which the writer constructs the sentences. So the element of style can be divided into dictions, imagery, and syntax. Diction. Diction is the author choice of words. In Indonesia, we call diction is pilihan kata. Yeah. In the diction, we can divide it into denotations and connotations. Denotation is the word's dictionary meaning. It means denotation is the true or literal meaning of a word or sentence. In Indonesia, we call that denotation is makna yang sesungguhnya, makna yang sebenarnya, makna yang ada di dalam kamus. Meanwhile, the connotation. Connotation is the opposite of the denotations. Connotation is the figurative or tropes words that has the unreal or implied meaning. In Indonesia, we call that connotation has the makna yang tidak sesungguhnya atau makna yang terselubung. For example here, he's my baby. Denotation, child or son from the speaker or writer. Connotation, boyfriend from the speaker. Baby, he's my baby. For example, itu ada dua makna ya, dia bayiku. That's called denotation meaning. Dia pacarku. Itu artinya makna connotations ya. Imagery. Imagery is the collection of image in the entire work or in any significant part of the work. Ya, imagery, image, bayangan-bayangan yang ada di dalam karya. Literal image. If seen from it means literal image is the image that is literal, which is the image is actually a literal image. Involves no necessary change or extensions in the meaning of the words. Since fiction deals with people, place, and things, and their relationship in action, it must depend heavily on literal imagery. A basic function of literal imagery is simply to satisfy the reader's demand for specific, concrete detail, his desire to know how things look, sound, smell, taste, and feels. Ya, image yang sesungguhnya, image yang sebenarnya, literal image. Recurrent image. While remaining literal in each individual instance, image may make an added contribution to the total design of a story. If they recur frequently in a story by frequent recurrence, the image take on a suggestive power, rousing association with bareness, sterility, importance, and frustration, all of which are relevant to the story's meaning. Recurrent imagery may consist of a number of repetitions of the same image or the frequent occurrence of image that, while not identical, all relate to a single theme. The image may be entirely literal or may be a mixture of the literal and figurative. Yeah, that's called recurrent meanings, the combinations of the literal and figurative. Figurative image. Figurative images are sometimes called tropes, or more commonly, figure of speech. An image is figurative when it must be understood in some sense other than the literal. Example, you are beautiful like diamond in the sky. Sentence above is an example of a particular kind of figurative image called simile. A simile is an implicit comparison of dissimilar objects involving the use of such comparative words as like or as. You are diamond in the sky. Sentence above is a metaphor because the comparison remains implicit. The statement seems to assert an identification. These examples, you are beautiful like a diamond in the sky, categories as simile. Meanwhile, you are a diamond in the sky, it's called metaphor. So my question for you, how about hyperbole? Do you think it is categorized as hyperbole or no? You can answer in this chat. Symbol. A symbol is basically a kind of image differing from other images in the use to which it is put, because symbolism often proves a stumbling block for experienced readers. We shall approach the subject of the literary symbol and directly. One kind of symbolism is familiar. It is language, for words are symbols of the reference of the things they refer to. A symbol must have reference. For example, rose symbol of. So here the time is limited time. Please answer here. Rose, for example, my question is, you are my love is like a red rose. First sentence. Silakan tulis dulu kalimat pertama. My love is like a red rose. And then the second sentence, you are like a rose. And the third sentence, kalimat ketiga, silahkan tulis. There may be a lot of flowers in a man's life, but there is only one rose. So, try to find the meaning of the three sentences. Sentence pertama, itu nanti dijawab di forum di sini juga jawab ya. Per sentence pertama, my love is like a red rose. Itu rose-nya itu artinya apa? Sentence kedua, you are like a rose. Sentence ketiga, silahkan catat. There's may be a lot of flowers in a man's life, but only one rose. Silahkan, apa makna ketiga rose di dalam tiga kalimat tersebut? Syntax. Syntax is the way in which the writer constructs the sentence. For the example, if the sentences of Henry James are characteristically longer and more complicated in structure than those of Ernest Hemingway, this reflects each writer's personal version of life. For James, the perception of experience is a matter of a close observation of the distinction. The embodiment of such a division in prose requires complexity of syntax. To rewrite a story by James in the syntactic way, or in other way around, would be to change the nature and meaning of the experience. Tone. The meaning will become clearer if we think first of a more familiar sense of tone, that is, the sense in which we speak of tones of voice. By tone, then, we mean the expression of attitudes. In spoken language, it is primarily the intonation of voice, just how one says nice work, that reveals the tone and thereby suggests the attitudes. Tones ini adalah nada. Nada itu artinya kalau orang mengatakan dengan nada yang manis, datar, berarti dia menyatakan dengan sesungguhnya. Tetapi kalau orang misalnya bahasa Indonesia aja kita, wah cantik sekali, dia datar dan memang dari lubuk hatinya dia menyatakan itu. Berarti memang cantik ya, memang dia melihatnya cantik. Berbeda dengan orang yang menyatakan cantik itu dengan terpaksa. Wah, ibu kan memang cantik sekali. Nah, itu berbeda sekali tergantung intonasinya ya. Karena isi hati mencerminkan apa yang dikatakan. Itu yang dimaksud dengan tone. Example, nice work. Nice work. Nah, nice work-nya tergantung kalau Anda mengerjakan sesuatu dan Anda bagus hasilnya. Nice work, ya good artinya. Tetapi kalau Anda gagal, datang bos Anda mengatakan, nice work. Oh, nice work. Nah, itu sepertinya dia marah. Itu artinya Anda bad atau gagal melakukan sesuatu. Itu yang disebut dengan tone. Figurative language juga harus ditentukan oleh tone. Tone itu body language, gaya bahasa, ya. Atau bagaimana body language orang mengatakan itu. Walaupun dia bilang cantik, tapi dia nggak suka, lain juga artinya. Ya. Tone. In written language, including the language of fiction, tone is that quality, primarily a quality of style that reveals the attitude of the author toward his subject and toward his audience. Ya, itu yang seperti tadi saya bilang ya. Ya, bagaimana kelakuan atau body language ya dari si pengarang terhadap subjeknya dan terhadap juga audiensnya. Kalau di dalam film ya karakternya itu bagaimana body language-nya. One example from the story Encores by Frank O'Connor. My Paul McDowling started losing his faith very, very early when he wasn't more than 18 toward the subject. Look here, he seems to say, we are sophisticated adults. We know that religious faith is something one inevitable loses. The only question is when. At any rate, it's nothing to get very excited about toward the subject and the readers. Understatement. Nah, ini yang saya bilang tadi, understatement itu ya merendah-rendahkan, kan begitu. Bahasa Indonesianya majas apa namanya, Dek? Kalau understatement itu, majas yang merendah-rendahkan itu apa, Dek? Hiperbol, ironi, apalagi satu, Dek? Yang merendahkan itu? In English, we call understatement. Yeah. The sentence from O'Connor's notes story is an example of understatement. That is, O'Connor treats his subject less seriously than most writers would. Understatement has been much favored by modern authors. It seems particularly sweet to the contemporary distrust of absolutes. The author who understates does not commit himself very firmly to anything. Understatement it is in the style of Frank O'Connor. A way of avoiding commitments, on the other hand, the use of way of calling on the reader to react with the full power of his moral imagination. Irony. Closely related to understatement, but more clearly focused, is the tone critics usually refer to as irony. Irony in fiction consists of a discrepancy between what is stated and what is suggested. Irony in its crowd's form becomes sarcasm. We say the opposites of what we mean. The words nice work function as a way of saying you are really botched in this time. The writer of fiction resorts to sarcasm, but if he is a writer of any distinction, his irony is likely to be more subtle. Hyperbole. The opposite of understatement is hyperbole, or exaggeration used for rhetorical effect. When at the beginning of the effect of hyperbole, in this particular instance and in many other in fiction, is a dramatic heightening. For example, I can live without you. Nah, kalau saya ingat sekali dek dulu, ada lagu How Do I Live Without You ya. Saya sangat menyukai lagu itu. Dulu saya juga nggak ngerti kepada siapa saya begini. Tetapi saya sangat menyukai lagu itu. Pelan-pelan akhirnya saya mengerti kepada siapa lagu ini ditujukan. Apakah itu termasuk hiperbol? I can't live without you, kan ada begitu. Nah, sekarang saya sangat menyukai lagu How Do I Live Without You. Saya menyukai itu. Saya sendiri waktu itu tidak mengerti kepada siapa mesti ditujukan. Pelan-pelan saya mengerti lagu itu ditujukan kepada Tuhan misalkan. Apakah itu termasuk hiperbol? Nah, silakan Anda nanti kita diskusikan nanti. The middle style. There is understatement and hyperbole. Most writers fall somewhere in between, exemplifying what we may call the middle style. The aim of the middle style is the present, aware, and accurate picture of things as they are. So the sentence in a literary work does not understatement and does not exaggerate something. The middle style, yeah, not understatement, not exaggerate. Sentimentality. Failures in tone occur when the attitude of the author seems somehow inadequate to the material presented. Such failures often takes the form of sentimentality. It tends to impose upon the materials a greater emotional burden than it can comfortably bear. Although sentimentality usually involves some exaggeration, it should not be confused with legitimate use of hyperbole. The example of sentimentality, the death of little Nels in Dickens' The Old Curiosity Shop, because Nell is purely artificial figure, more idealized doll than child. The emotion Dickens tries to stir up by her death is excessive. Ya, sentiments ya, emosi ya. Inhibition. Another kind failure of tone is inhibition. The author fails to give due emotional weight to his material. Inhibition ya larangan, ya sebuah kekeliruan yang dilakukan oleh pengarang. Itu juga pengarang terlalu mencampurkan emosinya ke dalam karyanya. Makanya itu disebut sebuah kegagalan. Makanya saya dulu membuat puisi Adolescent Love judulnya. Saya ingin sekali puisi saya itu berjudul Journey of Love. Pelan-pelan saya berpikir junior love itu termasuk terlalu mengekspos ya. Ya kalau yang anak ekspos itu bagus, kalau enggak bagaimana? Akhirnya saya membuat puisi itu, saya combine dengan membaca puisi-puisi kakak kelas Anda, ternyata pikiran saya berubah dan puisi saya berubah menjadi puisi yang cheerful ya, ceria, ada suka, ada duka. Itulah hidup yang sebenarnya. Kalau saya pakai puisi saya sendiri, waduh, terlalu sedih dan saya sendiri sebagai pembaca tidak terlalu menyukai ya. Makanya judulnya adalah Adolescent Love. Dan itu memang banyak yang menyukai gitu. Jauh lebih bagus daripada My Journey of Love. Siapa yang mau baca kan begitu. Okay. Conclusion. Style and tone are the element of fiction or literary work according to William Kinney's style is a writer characteristic way of using language, and tone is that quality, primarily a quality of style that reveals the attitude of the authors toward the subject and toward his audience. The attitude is revealed to us primarily in fiction through tone, and tone is dependent on style. That is, on what the author does with language. There are three elements of style such as diction, imagery, and syntax, but there are 6 elements of tone such as understatement, irony, hyperbole, the middle style, sentimentality, and inhibitions. That's all, and thank you so much. So here are the differences between style and tone. Style is the outer characteristic in making literary works, and then the tone is the quality of the style. There is a tone because of the style. That's all. And then nah sekarang Ibu mau mengginikan apa? Absen yang minggu lalu lupa ya. Nah, semua videonya dibuka ini ya. Karena Ibu mau screenshot. Nah, ya semuanya dibuka ya videonya ya. Oke, ini akan Ibu taruh di forum sebagai bukti absen. Oke, now we will continue to the second slide. Second slide, yang lainnya semua buka. Ini Budi Astawa, ini kemana ini? Iwayan Budi Astawa. Begitupun, nah.